About 3 years after this ranger had joined the United States Forest Service, they were getting some calls that people were reporting a wolf in the area with a collar on it. Kinda strange. A, there aren't usually wolves in that area, and B, wolves don't usually have collars. But none of those calls had mentioned any violent behavior. So the ranger departs his station about noon and goes to the places where this wolf has been sighted. So he's wandering out and about for about 3 hours when he decides it's time to take a break. So he sits down, has a snack, drinks some water, and he's getting ready to get up and go again when he sees the wolf about 20 feet away, just inside the tree line. Now, it looked friendly enough, so the ranger whistles and it comes running over. And as it gets closer, he can see by the body type that it's not a wolf, but it's huge, so he could see where people would be making that mistake. So he gets on his radio and says that he has the dog and he'll bring it in. But as soon as he says he's going to bring it in, the dog takes off. Like he was wondering how far he could get the ranger to chase him. Typical dog behavior. So he goes after it and they play this little chase game for about 5 minutes through all the forest until it comes to a clearing and the dog kind of slows down and starts pacing around a particular spot. So he comes in closer to where the dog is, and with the overgrowth, he almost doesn't see it, but then he sees it. And it appears to be bones. So the park ranger calls it in and another team comes out to recover those remains. But when he went to retrieve the dog is nowhere to be found. But he figures, the dog is friendly enough, we'll catch up with him later. The bones were identified as those of a teenage male who died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. And he'd been reported missing long before the ranger even became a ranger, and they had totally lost all hope of any remains of him being found. Now, the mom of the teenage victim actually called the ranger to say thank you for finding my son. So she asked him, how did you find him? So he started talking about how this black dog kind of led him there. And then he thought he said something wrong because there was an odd pause on the other side of the phone. So after he gave her some more details about the dog, the mom explained to the ranger that her son had had trouble making connections and had fallen into a pretty deep depression after the death of his best friend, his dog, the very dog that had led the ranger to his remains.